So Destiny heroes have been crushing it over the last couple weeks. Ever since the new skill and new ban list came out, this deck has been dominating in tournaments and on ladder. Top players are debating whether or not this deck or Odd Eye should be considered the best deck of the format, and really their new skill is the reason why. Destiny Effect is absolutely devastating, allowing you to go potentially +4 in card advantage off of it. So as soon as you normal summon a Destiny hero monster, during the rest of this duel you can activate any of the 3 skills from this card once you've met the requirements for those 3 effects. So the first one says you can set a polymerization from outside of your deck to your field and send 1 Destiny hero Malicious from outside your deck to the graveyard. This is an immediate potential +1. It is an immediate +1 because you get to set the polymerization to your board immediately from outside your deck, but also you get a Malicious in your graveyard. Now Destiny hero Malicious, of course, you get a banish it from your graveyard, summon another one from your deck. You'll usually only get to run 2 in your deck, but with this you get to add a 3rd one for free in the graveyard, which means you get a free summon off of it right away. So as long as you still have one in your deck, you didn't draw both in your opening hand, which is part of the reason why we're running 30 cards in this deck, is to make sure we don't draw the Malicious or the Plasma or the Miracle Fusion in our opening hand. You'll see again, we'll get into all the combos and all that stuff and the gameplay and all that in a moment, but going through the skill request is so important. The second part of the skill lets all your level 8 or higher monsters gain 200 attack points. That's for our fusion monster that allows you to reduce its attack points back to original attack points and then blow up a monster on your opponent's side of the board. We'll show you the fusion monster in a moment as well. And then from the 3rd turn onward, you can, and that of course gives you another potential +1 because you got to blow up a card on your opponent's side of the board with your monster's effect. So that's +3 right there. And then from the 3rd turn onward, you can return a banished Destiny hero monster to your deck and add a Plasma from your deck to hand. Then you got to shuffle a card from your hand back into your deck. So you don't get the plus off of that. But if you shuffle Malicious back into your deck, you can get an additional summon that you would not have been able to get off of Malicious, right? Once you've used all of their summons up, you obviously can't do it again, but if you can shuffle it back in your deck, 1 more summon. So that's potentially +4 you get to go into with your skill here. Absolutely devastating to gain that much card advantage off of that. So the deck itself is really simple. The main thing is you want to summon your Destiny hero Dystopia every game with this deck pretty much. It's 2 Destiny heroes to make it, 2,800 attack points, and it's level 8 or higher, so like I said, our skill gives it 200 attack, and you can then return its attack back to its original value to blow up a card on the board. So you can not just blow up monster with it, but you can also pop your opponent's back row with it as well, which is really important if you're playing other decks that are running back row, like a Mirror Match, say. So this card is extraordinarily powerful, but you also have fusion plays with the Liquid Soldier as well, the Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier. Remember, you cannot summon the Liquid Soldier, but you can use its effect though. So we have the 1 copy and then Reinforcement of the Army to search it out. So most games you're not going to have this card to add to your combos, but if you do happen to draw the Liquid Soldier or the way to get to it, it is a really powerful addition to the deck. And who knows, maybe now that this card is not limited to, maybe people will decide to run more copies. As it is though, I think it's just a 1-of in the deck. But if you do happen to get to the 1 copy of it, you can go into your Sunrise, get the +2, discard 1 off of the Liquid Soldier, and then you search your deck for Miracle Fusion, and then you can either summon another one to push, or save the Miracle Fusion to use the Liquid Soldier effect again next turn. So there's a ton of different things you can do with it if you do happen to draw this, just to gain extra card advantage. Super powerful combo you can go into with it, and you can still potentially set up your Dystopia along with a couple Sunrises and just absolutely, along with the Link Monster, and just devastate your opponent. So really cool combos you can do with that card. The rest of your deck is mostly just focused, though, on being able to normal summon a Destiny hero monster to trigger your skill, right? Again, as soon as you normal summon a Destiny hero monster, your skill is live. You can set polymerization, put a Malicious in the grave, and start comboing off. And again, just off of normal summoning 1 monster, if you have 1 monster and 3 back row in your hand, that's a great turn 1 play, right? You just normal summon the Destiny hero monster, activate your skill, you get the polymerization for free, Malicious in the graveyard, you can banish the Malicious to summon 1 from your deck. Polymerization will then get you your fusion monster, and then your board is a fusion monster and 3 back rows, and that's 4 interruptions to stop your opponent on their turn from being able to do anything. And if you have Unexpected Die set, you can banish the Malicious from your graveyard to get your 3rd one out from the deck, and you have the free tribute material for the expendable die, and that combined with your Dystopia can allow you to pop 2 back row on your opponent's turn, so you can clear the board out to finish them off the next turn. There's just so many things you can do with this deck. It's extremely powerful. Your Destiny hero monsters themselves are really good outside of the Malicious. Your Drill Dark, of course, acts as a I forget the name of it now, but it's a way to it's a Marauding Captain. That's it. It's a Marauding Captain. You normal summon it or special summon it. You get a special summon a Destiny Hero monster from your hand with less attack to this, or equal attack to it. So you get a special summon either Celestial or Decider or your Dreamer potentially. But this allows you to get 2 level 4s on the field, so you can go into a rank 4 play for the Exciton Knight. Unfortunately, it's the only rank 4 we have room for in here because there's just so many so many good other cards we need in our extra deck. But Exciton Knight is really powerful, and you do find use for it. Celestial is also really powerful for gaining back card advantage. Of course, you can banish it and another Destiny Hero from your graveyard to draw 2 cards, as long as you have no cards in your hand. So it's a free way to get +2 and draw 2 cards for free. It's a great way to come back into the game when you need, when you're like run out of resources. Decider also helps you gain back resources once per duel when you normal special summon it. You get to add a hero from your graveyard to your hand during the end phase. It's basically just a way to get back free, just extra monsters for either fusion plays or just to try to push your opponent. We've already mentioned Malicious. You get to banish it, summon it, nothing else to it. And then we have Destiny Hero Plasma. You can tribute 3 monsters to special summon it from your hand, and then you get to suck up your opponent's monster, equip it to this as an equip spell, and gain its attack points. So it's a way to out threats, and then of course it's part of your skill where you can add it from your deck to your hand. I don't really, summon this too often. There are some times when it does come up, but a lot of the time you're just not summoning this. Your other plays with your fusion monsters in the background and everything is going to take care of a lot of games for you. We do have the 1-of Destiny draw. You don't have to run this. Discard a Destiny Hero monster, draw 2 cards. Really nice addition to the deck, though I do like it. We already mentioned the Road to the Search, and then the rest of our deck is just back row cards outside of the 1-of Miracle Fusion for the Sunrise plays. Triple Book, we have 2 Lost Wind, the 1 Compulse, 2 Warning Points, and 3 Expendable Die. Into the extra deck, I already went through all the fusions and the XYZ monster. I do have 1 of each of the Nightmare monsters, Phoenix and Unicorn. We also have a Ferocious Flame Swordsman. Any 2 monsters with different names will make this. All warriors on your field gain 500 attack points, and since Dystopia is a warrior type monster, it'll also gain the boost, and you can pop another card with its effect. So a little added bonus to it there. Plus, if this thing gets destroyed, you can bring back a non-link warrior type monster from your graveyard. So you might be able to bring back like your Dystopia or your Destiny Hero monsters and go into more combos. We also have the 1 Extra Hero Wonder Driver. This card is also really cool. Any 2 hero monsters can make it, so you can very easily like Drill Dark, summon another hero, and then go into this. If a hero monster is normal special summon to a zone, discard points to, target a polymerization in your graveyard, and set that target. You can only activate that effect once per turn, and then if it's destroyed by battle or sent to graveyard, you can special summon a hero monster from your hand. But the main thing is, though, is that you can do something. You can normal summon Drill Dark and like your Celestial, get your like polymerization to the board. Like if you go for a polymerization play, then later on if you link summon into this, you can reset your polymerization back, go for another fusion play. There's all kinds of cool things you can do with this when it does come up. It's just really neat card to add to this deck. But other than that, it's like I said, this is just a really strong back row deck that's really consistent at just putting out at least 1 big monster on the board that can interrupt your opponent, plus 3 back row to protect it. It's a really strong deck. We'll go ahead and get into the gameplay right now. You can see exactly what it does. Alright, so this first game is going to be a good example of what you can do if you happen to draw the Liquid Soldier in your hand. Again, you only have 1 copy of this in your deck, and the 1 reinforcement of the army to search it, so most games you're not going to have this combo, but when you do, you can definitely do some really powerful things with it. So our opponent's playing with Armed Dragon. They're able to set up the, that they have that 1 monster with 3,000 attack point that lets them destroy a card on your side of the board. That's definitely frustrating, but we have the Book of Moon to shut it down. And if our opponent doesn't have any other back row, they're kind of in a tough position there because we have the Book of Moon for the effect monster. So, all right, yeah, and that's it. So, again, nothing else that he can do. We'll go ahead and Book of Moon his monster. He does decide to use the effects just so he can get the search off to level 7, which does give him Dark Arm Dragon in hand. I do really like the idea of easily summoning Dark Arm, but it's not going to be enough here. So we'll go ahead and normal summon our Destiny Hero monster, which triggers our skill. Now, remember, as soon as we normal summon, skill is live. We go ahead and special summon the Malicious from our hand. We get the polymerization, we'll activate it. We'll go ahead and use the 2 monsters from our hand so we can go into the Elemental Hero Sunrise. So that's going to trigger the 2 effects, Sunrise to search the Miracle Fusion, and Liquid Soldier to draw 2, discard 1. We'll go ahead and do that, draw 2, discard, search for our Miracle Fusion. From here we're going to go ahead and link summon off into our Wonder Driver. Now we'll activate our Malicious effect to summon 1 from the deck. That's going to trigger the effect of the Wonder Driver to get back the polymerization. We can then activate the Miracle Fusion to go ahead and go for another Sunrise. and our opponent's really just in a tough spot at this point. If we had another Destiny hero that we had drawn off that, we could have polymerization and gone into the Destiny hero Dystopia, and that would have been the ultimate board, right? 2 Sunrise plus Dystopia plus Wonder Driver. But as it is, we're in a great spot, right? 2 Sunrise plus Driver, Mally, backed up by Die, and we had the polymerization for future turns. So go ahead and attack, activate the effect to pop, we swing in, he doesn't have any hand traps to stop us anyway, so we win on this turn. So another going second game, unfortunately opened up with Plasma. This is the one weakness of the deck, is that you have several cards in your deck that you do not want to see in your hand, right? You never want to see the Plasma in your hand, you never want to see Miracle Fusion in your hand, and you never really want to see the Destiny Hero Malicious in your hand. Now, occasionally drawing some of those like the Plasma can be okay, but again, you have your skill to search out the Plasma. You really don't want to draw your Malicious because you can, again, just get your skill to dump one in the graveyard for you, and you want the rest in your deck to summon, so you do have quite a few bricks in this deck that you want to keep in there, which is why we're running the 30 cards, and which is why I prefer to run the 30 cards. Some players are cutting it to like 24, 26 cards, but I do like the 30 just to, you know, decrease likelihood that we draw them. But it also decreases the likeliness that we open up with Liquid Soldier. That's why, you know, out of all the replays, I think it's just one replay game that I have where we actually opened up with him, because we just don't have that opportunity with the way that we're running the deck. So we're playing against an Orcus Dark Lord deck here. Now, Orcus has survived the ban list, yet again survived 2 ban lists now to still remain relevant in the metagame, and this is a pretty darn good opening, I have to say, given the circumstances, right? We have Dingirsu, 2 back row, plus 3 beefy monsters on the board, with Nightmare, Ixal, and the other Dark Lord monster on the board, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce. So we do have some playable things with our hand, right? We do have the 1 Destiny Hero Celestial, plus 3 back row to try to stop our opponent, but it's not going to be easy. So, but we have our skill, right? That's the main thing that's going to keep this deck where it's at. So go ahead and activate the skill. It's going to immediately get us our things, our Malicious in the graveyard and our polymerization set to the board. I'm going to immediately activate the polymerization so I don't run the risk of him blowing it up in some kind of way. Like, I desperately need to get this off, right? And like get Dystopia out to the board and like try to start doing things. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll summon our Dystopia. We'll go ahead and use its first effect. Oh, always forget about the first effect of Dystopia, right? Whenever you summon it, you can burn your opponent for like half the attack points of one of the monsters in your graveyard. So a lot of the time, it's just going to be for 800 off Celestial or the Drill Dark, but it's just a free 800 points of damage. And in this instance, it probably doesn't matter too much. Yeah, our opponent's only at 12, but it's Dark Lord. They have ways to gain tons of life points, so this could be a long match or a long game as a result. But we are able to activate our skill, haven't been stopped yet, and that's going to give our monster the attack boost so we can pop a card on the field with it. So we'll go ahead and do the Malicious effect for now and just try to swing over our opponent's monster. He does activate the Sanctified Dark Lord to try to, I believe, negate the effect of our monster, if I'm not mistaken. However, though, interesting thing about Dystopia is that while this does negate his effect so I can't pop anything, he does still keep the attack boost, because the attack boost was given to him by our skill. So if he doesn't destroy the Dystopia this turn, I can still use it next turn. So that is just something to know about the way that the skill interacts with cards in this game. Is that you can negate his effect to stop him from popping, but he keeps the attack boost here because of our skill. So our opponent is going to go ahead and summon, do some plays here with the Orcus, summoning an Ixal, summoning a Scrap Recycler to dump some more Orcus to the graveyard. He's going to go for the Unicorn play here to try to shuffle back the Dystopia. So we're going to go ahead and chain Dystopia's effect to pop a card and chain the Expectable Die to get rid of that back row. So we're going to go for the pop here in the plus, get rid of his monster, get rid of his back row, draw, get the draw. He does have a Book of Moon here to protect his Ixal from the Lost Wind so he can continue to get the effect off. This is the sort of loop that Dark Lords do, which is super annoying at times, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save him here if we're able to, you know, continue with our... if we're able to draw into more things with like Celestial and stuff like that. This is the great thing with this deck with all the cards that we have here, right? We'll summon the Drill Dark. We have the Malicious effect that will activate now, so we don't have to draw into it. Go for the Wonder Driver. Now we can activate our skill to shuffle back, make sure that we have another Malicious in our deck. We'll go ahead and once again do this now, so we don't have to worry about drawing the Malicious. Pull it out, use Wonder Driver, get us our polymerization back set to the field. We can then go ahead and go for the Fusion Summon, get these Elemental Hero Sunrise. This is another hidden thing too, remember. Sunrise is any hero monsters with 2 different attributes, and Wonder Diver is in fact a, as you see, it is a light attribute. So this combined with a Destiny Hero monster can get you into this. So now we're able to go for the Miracle Fusion. Miracle Fusion can be activated. It's going to go ahead and bring us out our Elemental Hero Sunrise number 2. We can then go ahead and set the expendable die and then activate Celestial out of the graveyard to draw 2 cards from our deck, giving us more card advantage. We'll use our Sunrises to clean out our opponent's board completely with 2 back row set to try to disrupt our opponent if they do anything. That puts him in a tough position that he's not going to be able to get out of here. And despite everything that the Orcs player tried to do, he's just out of resources at this point with just 6 cards left in deck. There's just nothing left for him to do at this point. Game over, we got the win. Alright, so turn 1, this is that sort of turn 1 I talked about earlier when I went over the deck list. You normal summon, activate our skill. We're going to get the Polymerization set for free, Destiny Malicious in the graveyard for free. Malefic, summon 1 from the deck. Go ahead and fusion summon out the Dystopia and use the skill to give it the 200 attack points. We'll also burn our opponents for 800 damage because why the heck not burn them for 800 damage. We're also going to summon out the additional Malicious from the deck because we have an expendable die set. But this is it. This is the opening board, right? Dystopia with the ability to pop a card on the field plus 3 back row. That's 4 interruptions for our opponent's turn. There's no way that this Rocket player is going to be able to successfully go through all of his combos without me shutting him down with just how many ways I have to stop his turn. So he's going to go ahead and use his skill to get Boros Boot Sector Launch onto the field. Any skill that gives you a +1 is just really good. So he's going to try to activate it, but I'm just going to get rid of it immediately with the expendable die. Draw a card, start digging through our deck to try to get more resources for future turns. Our opponent is going to decide to go for an XYZ play here, which I'm just going to go ahead and shut down with the Lost Winds. He can't... his monster's attack is now halved, and he can't use his effect at all to, do anything about my monster. A number of different, backer cards like Compulse would work just fine there, but Lost Wind's pretty good in this situation too, so... We'll go ahead and normal summon the Decider, activate our skill. That's going to let us put a Malicious back into our deck. That way we can summon the Malicious. This is what I'm talking about with the Plasma. So often when I use the skill to search Plasma, I end up just shuffling it back into the deck, keeping the backer for future cards. And my main thing is I just want to get a Malicious out there so I can just combo off more and just dump more things onto the field without just tributing 3 monsters for 1 card. So it's not that Plasma is bad and that you never have uses for it, but it's just a lot of times this is what you're using the effect for. So we're able to link summon off, get an additional attack boost for our Dystopia. With the additional attack boost, we can pop his monster, clear the board, and swing. Easy win here against the Rocket deck. Alright, so this one was actually a loss. I don't usually show these, but let me know if you guys in the comment section if you guys would like me to show more losses and not just the wins and stuff within these replays. So going first, we have our standard play, except we don't have 3 back row to sec. We had a Destiny draw in hand, so instead of setting 3 with our Dystopia on the board, we're not going to be able to set the D draw. I mean, we could, but it'd be a bluff, and that's not a good idea. But it is kind of debatable in that situation whether or not I should do that. The good, the potential benefit is I could draw an extra back row instead of having a dead card in hand. But the bad thing is I could also not draw into a Destiny Hero monster and not be able to combo off. So I decided to just keep it, use it in the future, but we'll see how that plays out here. So my opponent went ahead and summoned an attack. I popped his monster with my Dystopia. I should have Book-a-Mooned. I really misplayed here and should have Book-a-Mooned his monster and then popped the back row with the Dystopia. That would have been the much smarter play for me to do, but I didn't make that play, unfortunately, so we'd have to live with 3 back row to get rid of now. So go ahead and D-draw. We'll go ahead and swing and try, and this is what I'm talking about. I should have waited to pop his back row, which is over 4k, so it would have been enough to kill him, but unfortunately he did have a way to stop it, so he has the crackdown. We do have the expendable die to take care of it now, though, so we will be able to get our monster back. He goes ahead and summons the Stratus, trying to pop my back row, but I'm going to take away both of his monsters. So instead of destroying 2 cards, he's going to destroy none. Flip 1 face down, take the other back by destroying the crackdown so that he's not able to blow up anything. He's then going to go ahead and go for a Link Summon here into the Wonder Driver. Seeing our opponent utilize the same thing, I'm going to hit it with the Lost Window immediately so that he just isn't able to do anything with it. I guess I could have waited, but it doesn't really matter too much here because its effect is negated. So, Lost Wind, stop it. In fact, we also get the Lost Wind back from our field because he summoned something from extra deck, but he's going to go for the Miracle Fusion play here off of the Sunrise, bring out the Shining, and I have nothing left to stop him. He's going to go ahead and have enough to win there. So we take the loss. We have another Armed Dragon deck now. I'm not sure why I was running so many of these, but this is a pretty cool deck. I actually want to do a video on this over the next couple weeks. as a budget deck because I only have one of each of the two URs out of the box. But that's okay because I know some of you guys, or quite a few of you guys, are budget players yourselves and may have only gone through the box one time and may only have one copy of each and a couple of Dark Arm Dragons. So I'm going to do a deck with just those. It's really cool. I love Dark Arm Dragon. Dark Arm Dragon is one of my favorite cards of all time in Yu-Gi-Oh! I used it so much back in the TCG, back during like the Synchro era and the early XYZ era. Absolutely love that card, and so happy to see it in Duel Links. I just wish there were more decks that could take advantage of it at this point. But this is one of them, and probably the one that can best take advantage of it, because of course you can end up with 3 Dark Monsters in the graveyard very easily with it. But our opponent also ends up with a pretty intimidating board. They have the Arm Dragon level 10, which is going to let him pop a card on this side of the field as a quick effect with its skill, plus 2 back row. So we have 3 potential interruptions on our opponent's side of the field to deal with here, but we have a lot going for us as well. We did draw the Miracle Fusion, unfortunately, but it's okay. We have a D hero, the normal summon, and we're able to activate our skill no problem. Now our opponent's smart. He knows that we have the polymerization set, and I didn't have another Destiny Hero monster to immediately just activate the polymerization. I had to use the Destiny Hero Malicious effect, which gave our opponent the opportunity to destroy the polymerization by chaining its effect to pop it. Remember, after you activate a skill, your opponent can't do anything, but after you activate a card effect, your opponent can. So he is able to pop that, but we do have a lot of ways to take out his monster at this point. We have so many back row in hand that I figure that it's not a terrible thing if I just set 3 and pass here, knowing full well that he would probably search for Dark Arm Dragon like he just did. So we have 3 back row to stop his 2 monsters. He summons the Dark Arm. We're going to use the Ring of Destruction. We also know that he has the Arm Dragon Lightning to stop it, but I wanted to make sure that I triggered the Arm Dragon Lightning with the Ring of Destruction, because we have to destroy something with Expendable Die to draw a card. This is something to know if you're playing with this deck or against this deck, or any warrior deck for that matter. Expendable Die has to destroy a card to draw a card. It says if you do, draw a card. So I had to make sure that the Expendable Die successfully destroyed something. And we're going to use that to pop the Dark Arm, get the draw, and then we're going to go ahead and Book of Moon his other monster, not only stopping the attack, but also preventing him from being able to use its effect to destroy something on our turn. So going back to our turn, we're going to go ahead and normal summon the Celestial. We're going to go for that Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. It finally gets to see some play here. Activate effect to go ahead and pop everything on our opponent's side of the field. He does have the Book of Moon to flip it face down. We also have the Malicious in our graveyard just to create some extra defense for us against him. Not able to do anything in his turn except for set a card, so we're just going to go ahead and summon the Cider. Go for the Link Summon into the Ferocious Flame Swordsman. We'll go ahead and set our card so that we have nothing left in hand, which means Celestial is now live, letting us draw 2 cards from our deck, giving us the advantage. And you can just see how just in late game, off of cards like the Cider and Celestial, how you can just gain so much advantage, and with your skill giving you +4 potentially, it's just absolutely absurd. So we'll get the D-draw, we'll go ahead and discard 2 and discard 1, draw 2. We'll use our effect to go ahead and put a Malicious back into our deck. We add the Plasma and just shuffle back in because we don't really care about summoning it. We want the back row instead, and we just want the Malicious in our deck so we can summon one from our deck with the effect. So we'll go ahead and do that, another monster to attack with. Plus we have Expendable Die set, so we'll go ahead and swing with the rest of our monsters. Book of Moon's going to save his life for another turn, but look at the card advantage. Look at just how much card advantage we have against this guy. There's just nothing he's going to be able to do when we just have this much against him. This deck is just so well-rounded. I really enjoy playing with this deck. It definitely fits my playstyle of just like summon a big monster with an interruption and like set 2 or 3 back row. Super easy gameplay, and it's very just very easy to learn and play with this deck, and it does very well. And again, it's just dominating the metagame right now. So another game against Rocket. Surprisingly running into so many Rockets, so many Armed Dragon players with this with this playthrough. But we'll go ahead and go for our normal combo. It's just as we saw before. We have 1 monster plus 3 back row. It ends in a board of Dystopia plus our 3 back row. We do decide to use up the Militia, so 1, we don't draw it, and 2, we have the Expendable Die to tribute it off. And then we get the bonus, the Decider effect activates, adding itself back to hand, meaning that we have 6 cards after our first turn, plus 4 interruptions to deal with our opponent, and Expendable Die can give us an additional draw, in addition to like our draw turn next turn. So it's just so many good things this deck can do. So we'll go ahead and use the Dystopia effect to go ahead and pop his card. He's going to chain to destroy it so that he can get the summon out of the deck with his tuner monster. But I just want to deal with his monster just immediately so he can't get the Synchro play off. We'll pop it with Expendable Die, get that draw I was talking about. He does have the Dragon's Mirror, surprisingly, to go for the fusion play here, getting Board Load Furious Dragon out. So we know that this thing can pop card, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the Compulse to send it back, and then when he chains to destroy my monster, I'm going to chain the Lost One to negate the effect. So effect gets negated, Compulse sends it back to the extra deck, our monster is still alive and able to pop his back row, Now he has nothing left on his field, so we're able to just clean out his board, swing easy wins here against the Rocket deck. And man, this Destiny Hero deck is just absolutely insane right now. But if you guys liked the video, hopefully you guys learned something about either how to play with the deck or some ideas, things how to counter the deck. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Thank you so much for the support and for watching the video. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day.